Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is my first ever video that I am uploading on the testing interview questions. Initially, I'll go through the manual testing interview questions, and in later videos, I will put some automation interview questions as well. So let's go. What is software testing? The first question is, what is software testing? So software testing is the process of evaluating and verifying that a software product or application was as per the business requirement, and it checks various aspects such as usability, accuracy, completeness, efficiency. So when the application is developed, whether there is any bug, whether the product or the application works as per the expectation or the requirement, that is called software testing. Just to validate, just to check whether the application is as per the requirement. The next question: what are the different levels of testing? There are mainly 4 levels of testing. First one is unit testing. Mostly it is done by the developers. Once the module, each of the module is developed, the developer needs to do the unit testing. They need to check the code whether everything is perfect or not. Then integration testing, the second one is integration testing. Integration testing is the integration of all the modules. Suppose in a project there are multiple modules. Once that they are in, all the modules are developed, they must be integrated, and after integration, whether the application or the product works fine or not, that is called, to check that one, we need to do integration testing. Then what is system testing? The third point is system testing. So once the code is already developed for all the modules, it is integrated. It would be implemented in the system itself, and in the system, how does this code works? Whether that is working perfectly in a system or not. To check that one, we do system testing. Then acceptance testing. Before going to the market, like the user is using any application or the product, before reaching that to a user, we need to do the acceptance testing. We need to test whether that is the user will accept that particular application or the framework, product or not. So in that case, we use acceptance testing. The next question is, what are the different methods of testing? So there are basically 3 methods of testing: black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing. Then in next question I have put, what is black box testing? Black box testing involves testing a system with no prior knowledge of its internal workings, like what is written in the code, that knowledge is not required. Whatever is visible in the front end, whether the functionality is working fine or not, those things we check in black box testing. A tester provides an input and observes the output generated by the system under test. Just like suppose the login functionality, if we click on login, whether it is logging into the application or not, those validations we do. But what is written behind it, what code has been written behind it, we don't check that one. This makes it possible to identify how the system responds to expected and unexpected user actions, its response time, usability issues, and reliability issues. We'll move to next question. What is white box testing? White box testing involves testing an application with detailed information about the source code, architecture, and configuration. So in backend, we set up many things, suppose we have set up a price. In the backend, in the configuration level, we provided a price for a product. So whatever the price has been provided in the configuration, that will display in the front end. So whenever user comes, they see the product with suppose $10 or $15 price, but that is set up somewhere else, like backend. The tester doesn't know. So to validate those things, we do white box testing. It can expose issues like security vulnerabilities, broken paths, or data flow issues. Suppose it is already there in the configuration, but it is not displaying in the front end. So that is there is a gap between it. That means there is a data flow issues. Then we'll move to next question. What is gray box testing? Gray box testing is a software testing technique in which testers do not have the complete product knowledge and only have limited information about the internal functionality and code. They have access to detailed design document as well as information about the requirements. It is commonly used for penetration testing, end-to-end system testing, and integration testing. You can perform gray box testing using interactive security testing (IST) tools. So, what are the different phases involved in software testing lifecycle? So, for every process, wherever you go, there are certain phases to follow. To do something, we need to go through certain phases, right? So we whenever we are going to test an application, or we are going to test a product, we need the information about that particular application or product. What is the goal? What is what is the objective of doing this testing? So what are the information required? We gather all the information initially, then only we can think what should be the next step to do. So the first step is requirement analysis, then we will go for test planning. So once the information is gathered, we go for the planning, like how long the testing will take, what kind of testing we are going to do, whether only manual testing or regression testing, or the automation testing or security testing, what kind of testing is required. So we will plan within how much time it can be completed, who are the resources who will be taking care of this testing, like testing this application, and how much time required, resource required, how much cost required for this. So everything is coming under test planning. Then what is then the next step will come as test case development. Test case development is nothing but the test case designing. Okay, so whatever the scenarios we have identified, whatever the user stories we have, accordingly acceptance criteria we have, accordingly we have to create the test cases. Then once we create the test cases, we need to also create the test data at the same time. But it again depends, if the environment setup is not done, we cannot validate those test data, whether it is those test data are valid for the test execution or not. So for that we need the environment setup. Before doing the test case execution, we must ensure that our environment setup is done. That means whether all the hardware softwares has been already in place or not, it is already available in or not, and whether all the required access has been provided to the testers or not. All those things we check in the environment. Different kinds of environments are there. We will come to know in our later sessions. If you know system integration testing, SIT environment, UAT environment, prod environment, so different environments are there. So in that the code has been deployed or not, everything that we need to check. So once the code deployment is done in the testing environment, we are ready to do the test execution. Once the test execution is nothing but running all the test cases that we have written. So during test execution, if we find any bugs, we can raise the bug, and it would be assigned to developers, and it must be fixed by the developer as well. So once everything goes well, and we are reaching the minimum criteria, okay, these many percentage of test cases has been passed, there are no major issues, If there will be issues also, those are very minor issues that can be fixed later. So in that case we can go for test closure. Also there are many factors, before going to test closure there are many factors we need to consider, suppose there is no proper budget. In that case we can also stop the test case execution. Suppose there are not much resources to execute. In that case those are the kind of risk that we can identify, and that can be considered during test planning. Okay. And if there are major issues, blocker issues, that we cannot proceed, in that case also we must stop the test case execution. So those things I will also cover in my later sessions. These are the main phases, different phases of software testing lifecycle, or STLC. Then we'll go to the next question. What are the principles of software testing? Yeah, these are this is the question that is mostly asked in ISTQB certifications. So I will go through each of the principles in my later session as well. But for now, we should know what are the principles. Absence of error fallacy. Testing shows the presence of error. Existing testing is not possible. Defect clustering. Pesticide paradox. Early testing. Testing is context dependent. So these are the principles of software testing. And what is bug life cycle? What is a bug, by the way? Bug is nothing but that is not a human error. That is a computer error or a program error. That program mistake that gives us gives something that we don't expect, right? Once the bug, we find out one bug as a tester. So what are the different phases the bug should go through? Initially, when we raise a bug, it is a new status, and then we assign that to developer, so it would be an assigned status. When developer is working on that particular bug, it would be in active status. Then once the bug is fixed, that would be reassigned to the QA, that would be under test. If the while retesting it, we found the bug is not yet fixed, so we can again reopen it, and that would be that can be also, once test is done, verified, we can close it. There are certain cases where the developer cannot fix the bug in this cycle or in this sprint. At that time they want some more time to fix the issue, or it will go to the next sprint or next cycle. In that case the bug is deferred. And also there are certain cases that is not a bug, the bug can be rejected. Also there are certain cases the bug is the duplicate bug. So already somebody has raised the bug, so in that case that is a duplicate bug, we can close it as duplicate bug. So these are the few phases of defect life cycle. What is a test case, test script, and test scenario? Always there is a confusion between test scenario and test case. So what is a test case? Test case are a series of actions executed during software development to verify a particular feature or function. A test case consists of test tapes, test data, preconditions, and preconditions for a specific requirement. Then what is a test scenario? Usually a test scenario consists of a set of test cases covering the end-to-end functionality of a software application. A test scenario provides a high-level overview of what needs to be tested. So I can give one example here, test scenario and test case. Suppose there is a login functionality. So the scenario is just a login functionality, but in test case you can write various number of test cases, like there are multiple type of customer. So under login functionality, login scenario, suppose US customer, UK customer, Indian customer, and Singaporean customer, all of them are there. So you can try to write the scenario test case for each of the customers. Otherwise, you can just take a simple example. Logins and login button is there, email ID and password you need to provide. In that case, there are multiple test cases can be written. Just like you are giving valid email ID, valid password, then user should be able to log in. You are not giving the email ID, you are just giving the password and you are clicking on the login, it will throw an error. So that is negative scenario. Again, you are not giving the password but giving the username, and it should throw error. That is also a negative scenario. And you, if you are giving both as blank, so it should throw an error. So all these test cases you must write under one test scenario. Then what is a test script? When it comes to software testing, a test script refers to a set of instructions that will be followed in order to verify that the system under test performs as expected. The document outlines each step to be taken and the expected results. Then what is a bug? As I told sometimes back, bug in software testing is like a mistake in computer program. It's something that the program does that it's not supposed to do, or it doesn't do something that it should do. An error. What is an error? An error is a mistake made by human, such as programmer, while writing the code. Suppose I can give one example. 1 plus 1 is 2, but the programmer has written 1 plus 1 is 3, and the expectation is to get the answer as 2. So in that case, the developer will get error, right? So that is called the human error. That is not done by the computer program. Okay, so in that case, that is an error and the bug which the computer program give us. Okay, so what is a test plan? Test plan is a dynamic document monitored and controlled by test manager. It serves as a blueprint that outlines what, when, how, and how to test the process. A test plan is a document detailing the objective, resources, and processes for a specific test session for a software or hardware product. The plan typically contains a detailed understanding of the eventual flow. And what is needed means how we will write the test plan. So what does it contain? The first is we should know what is the product is about, what is this application about. So we need to analyze that product or application. Then we need to prepare a proper strategy how to do the testing. So for that we need to design a proper strategy. Mostly it is done by the test manager. Then we need to define the test objective or the goal, why we are doing this testing, what we are going to deliver, what we are going to achieve. Then fourth one is define the test criteria. So what are the different types of test criteria? We will go through it later. Then what are who will be the resources, how many resources will give how much time. So all those things we will include in resource planning. Then plan the test environment, in which environment we are going to test, whether it is SIT, whether it is UAT, what kind of testing we are going to do. Everything we should mention in the test plan. And schedule and estimation. So how long does it take to complete the entire testing process? That is the estimation for each resource, how long they are taking for each of the tasks. For that we need to estimate the testing. Then we should include that in test plan. Then determine the test deliverables. So what are the test deliverables that we need to mention in the test plan itself. Then what is verification and validation in testing? Verification is a static analysis technique. Here testing is done without executing the code, like reviews, walkthroughs, inspection, etc. And validation is a dynamic analysis technique where testing is done by executing the code. Examples include functional testing and non-functional testing techniques. Verification is the process of determining if the software is designed and developed as per the specified requirements. But validation is the process of checking if the software, the end product, has met the client's true needs and expectation. Then we will then the last question is, what is the difference between functional and non-functional testing? Functional testing checks the application's process against a set of requirements or specification. Non-functional testing assesses application properties that are not critical to functionality but contribute to the end user experience, like performance and reliability under load. Functional testing ensures that the functions and features of the application work properly. Non-functional testing examines other aspects of how well the application works. Functional testing tests the functionality of an app. Non-functional testing tests the performance of those applications. So that's it for today. I'll come up with some more manual testing interview questions soon. Thanks for listening, and please provide your feedback. Thank you.